Peace and greeting from the sign of the rising sun. This is your boy Monquay,
And this is Stephon.
and we're back at it with the Divine Council Podcast, episode 54.
Yes, sir.
So we just gonna jump right into it. First, we got a different set, and we came legit this time. We're trying out Artist Mill Studio.
Yeah, shouts out to Artist Mill for allowing us to come in here. You
Yep.
know, trying to build up, trying to have like a more professional quality to the work. We've been doing the podcast for over a year and a half now, and we've mainly been recording via this app called Anchor app. It's pretty good for the most part, but it's limiting because the audio isn't that great, and we don't have a video, and we know in today's times people like to see like video content, and I'm all about quality myself. I'm an aspiring artist myself. So I love, like, I mix and master like my own music and stuff. So I'm sort of like an engineer myself. So yeah, that's important to me.
Yeah, the Anchor app actually it worked pretty well with the quarantine and everything going on. But we're in episode 54. It's time to take it to the next level. Feel like we got the content, but it's time to add to the production. And like Stephon said, he's well inclined in production and editing and everything. So we might as well come legit because we're really serious about this. So with that being said, I guess we can start. So how's everything been for you, Stephon, since the last podcast?
Well, for me, it's been more of the same. Like I've been saying for the past several weeks. Since the pandemic started, I've been working from home, and I've been trying to find a balance between working and being productive in other things, like doing the podcast or doing like music or catching up on like shows that I've been watching, exercising, and still trying to have like a social life, trying to balance all of that, and also into other ventures like looking up cryptocurrency, trying to get it more into investing and stuff, the ideas that we've been bouncing back and forth with that. So it's been pretty busy for me, just trying to put everything into focus and trying to allocate the time for all of that, So just trying to stay productive. What about you?
Yeah, for me, I'm trying to stay busy as well. The first time we linked up since I think right before they made it a pandemic basically. And the last month, 7 months, 8 months, however long since February basically. It's just been basically building, focusing on my purpose and kind of where to go from here after all this is said and done. So for me, still working in the hospitals. I think it's safe to say, and I'm not gonna speak too much about that, but the cases are a lot lower than where they were. It's interesting to see where we go from here because I think we're entering an interesting part of the year, and I think we're entering a time of the year where it's going to be a lot more than just the coronavirus, basically. So yeah, we got to buckle up and just kind of stay vigilant. But for me, it's still business as usual. I want to keep on working on investing and building, working on myself, trying to eat right, staying fit. Big thing is just continuing to build my knowledge. I think it's safe to say that we in the future. I'm not gonna speak too much about this, but kind of what's been going on is I got some ayahuasca and some shrooms.
Yeah.
Like it was easy, man. Like so, I'm right now working on trying to taste the toad, as I guess Mike Tyson would say. I'm gonna start mixing it up, and we'll once we get that rolling, we'll let you know how that spiritual journey goes. I think this is the time, it's the time to, like I was saying to a friend earlier, it's time for me to get a better understanding of life, basically after this, because I think we all, it's been very interesting, it's crazy times, but yeah, still the same old for me. Ordered a whole bunch of books, try to pick up on reading different things when I have the time, try to stay more consistent with that. Because, I was really thinking, I was wondering, like, if we could do a survey or a poll or something. And I wonder how many American adults over the age of 21, I wonder when's the last time they actually read a book, is what I was thinking. And I took it further, and I was like, maybe that's why. I feel like maybe that's why, as a general public or masses, we're so dumbed down. It's because probably something like that. I mean, really think about it. You can poll most people, and I guarantee you they can tell you they can't tell you the last time they read a book. So for me, I'm not immune to that. I understand that, so I'm trying to just get back into what's really important, because this. Priorities change now. I think we really understand what's important in society, because it's a high level of distractions that's going on right now as well, and it's been going on this year. But just kind of going on about myself. It's still the same old. It's business as usual. I want to continue to elevate, starting with the podcast. Just continue to elevate everything I've been doing and take it to the next level. It's that time.
Yeah. I think that's a interesting question that you raised, because for me, like, whenever it comes to like reading, more so, I got like I feel like an attention span of like a kid, and like I can't like just like sit down and just read an entire book like that, like some people was. Like, that's never how I was in grade school or anything. I mean, I always could read above my level in school and stuff, but I never really cared about reading at that point. I'm at the point now to where I'm looking into books to try to find more information about our true history and where we actually come from, as opposed to what we're taught in the public school system. I prefer audiobooks because I'm on the go. Well, I was on the go a lot before the pandemic, so I would just be listening to them on the way to and from work, or when I'm out of town, at the gym, maybe, when I'm like playing basketball or something like that. I'm always trying to stay focused on what's important and learning something new. So yeah, I think it is important that people do look more into reading. But if they don't want to actually read, I mean, you can always do the audiobooks, because, podcasting in a sense is like an audiobook, with each episode being its own chapter, I feel, and I think it's important for people to continue to educate themselves on various topics, not just what's put into the mainstream media, but stuff that is kept underground, so to speak.
Yeah, we're in the age of information, so like I think already we kind of seeing the paradigm is shifting. So I think right now it's just about how much information can you gain, because a lot of this mentality change is, I think we're starting to understand that a lot of what we've been taught is a lie as well. And, kind of having that cognitive dissonance, we have to start basically relearning. And it's a perfect time to be able to learn more information because of the accessibility of the internet. Everybody has cell phones. Now, it's a podcast explosion. You can listen to podcasts on the go, doing almost anything, So right now it's just, it's about the thirst for knowledge, because we definitely are in the age of information. And I think we're just starting this too. I think it's going to be a lot of advances that come out of this. And I feel like if you haven't taken this year to gain information and build your knowledge, you're going to be kind of left behind or be at a disadvantage, because the paradigm is already shifted, and it's shifting rapidly if you can't tell. One thing I wanted to ask you about, did you see where AMC theaters are allowing people to rent out the theater for $99?
I did see that.
Wow. I mean, it's shifting overnight. I mean, like, that can open up so many avenues for anything that you like, lectures, podcasts. You can go up there and just have a lecture if you have a big enough following, if you are good at marketing. But it's interesting to see that you know, it seems like the paradigm is shifting towards putting more information out.
Right.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking at a CNN article, and they saying that AMC allows rentals of up to 20 people. Like you said, the rate starts at $99 excluding tax, and increases to $349 depending on the movie, the theater location, and any other add-ons like food and drink. Their FAQ page lists renting a microphone to greet guests as an extra $100 charge, while more time to enter an auditorium beyond the standard 15 minutes will cost another $250. So, yeah, like every industry is I feel like is being impacted like negatively by what's going on with the pandemic, and the entertainment industry is taking a huge hit because, you know, before this, the theater business was booming. You know, as you can see me on the camera, I got on the Avengers Endgame shirt. I'm a big Marvel fan. Last year, they made like $2 billion off of that movie alone. Disney did. And they re-released like The Lion King, made another $1 billion off of that, Aladdin, another $1 billion. So it was thriving then, but now that everything is shut down, it's like it's forcing a shift from the big screen to the small screen, where you see more people are consuming stuff through a OLED TV or something like that, like a 4K TV, and just it's still, you know, still just looking at a screen all day, but compared to the huge screen, you got the smaller experience and more, I guess you could say more comfortable experience. It's compared to like when you go see like a live sporting event, like going to like, say like a football game or something like that. Yeah, it's fun going out there, you know, being a part of tailgates and stuff like that, and then going to the game and stuff, watching the game. But for me, I find more comfort in just like chilling at my house and watching something if I am to watch a game, which I don't watch sports like that anymore. But I find it more comforting to just be in my own home with surround system and that type of setup, you know.
Yeah, speaking on sports, I agree with you, man. It's just I think once I tapped into the gematria, and started doing more research. Even about even the NFL had a court case where they basically had to come out and admit that is entertainment. Like this court case was the equivalent of like when the WWE had their or the WWF had their litigation issues with the WWE, the World Wildlife Fund, or WWF, the World Wildlife Fund, and they had to change their name. And
Worldwide Wrestling Federation.
Yeah. They had to, during early 2000s, if you remember, back before they had to come out and change it to WWE, the reason why they had to is because the original WWF, the Worldwide, it's a animal fund, but it's important, and it's been around longer than the WWF, or probably around the same time. But they had like the original name, and you know they had gotten sued, and that's why the WWE basically had to come out and change the federation to entertainment. And then that was basically, it didn't collapse it. I mean, if you really look at it, now it's still a really good product. I think, in my opinion, they did the correct shift, and it's just as good now as it was when it was the WWF, based on if you like the entertainment. I mean, I personally stopped watching it, but it's still got a great following. But I bring that up because the NFL had the same type of court case that kind of went under the radar, where somebody had sued the NFL. Basically, I think it had something to do with the betting of NFL, but like it was something that was basically on the surface. I should look it up, but I'm just gonna kind of break it down a little bit. It was something that was like on the surface, but basically it came to the NFL having to admit that shit is entertainment as well. And I think, you know, looking back, I think kind of what's going on now too is we're starting to understand that all that shit is entertainment in a script in some type of way to kind of keep us distracted and controlled. And me personally, I can see my interest in sports has just dramatically declined the last couple years. I think it's gotten more apparent, but I think it just goes back to the times that we're in. You know, we have a lot of stuff in our society, a lot of things in our society that basically was put there to keep us distracted and controlled. But we're breaking through it. It's a paradigm shift. It's a paradigm shift. I just want to speak on that about the sports, but I'm gonna look up this court case so we can actually get the details on it.
Yeah, I came up. I was watching like the WWE, WWF. Like I remember when it was like Raw is War back in the day. My uncle Tony, he had a bunch of the old wrestling videos because there was a wrestler from where I'm from, my where I was born, Goldsboro, or the area. Let me see what his name was. He was a wrestler. See if I can find. Yeah, Viscera. Viscera, yeah, he's from Goldsboro. That's where I was born. Yeah, he passed away in 2014, but he was a wrestler, and I think they knew him. If I'm not mistaken, I think my dad and my uncle, they knew him. But yeah, they had old videos and stuff from back in the day, from like the 80s and shit, of the wrestling back then. And I would go over to his house and watch them on VHS tapes. And I was watching them all the way up. And I was watching WWE all the way up until like mid 2000s. But I really started losing interest in it when people started dying. Like Eddie Guerrero died. I remember I was mad about that. And then I remember Chris Benoit, he died. And I just saw a shift in it. And I just saw that it was rigged, and my mom was always telling me that it was fake and stuff. I wouldn't believe her. Like I would watch it with my dad. And the more I saw it, the more I saw how they would be throwing like fake punches and stuff and not really hitting the person and stuff like that. The injuries would be real when they have like say like a Hell in a Cell match or tables, ladders, and chairs matches. Those injuries would be real, but for the most part, it's all acting.
Yeah, but thinking about it, I also was thinking as well, like, does it really, this, once you kind of get over the fact of understanding what it is, I think it's just time to kind of move on, because it's still entertainment. Are you entertained by it or you're not? If you're not entertained by it, then, just move on, that's kind of how I looked at it too. So, like I said earlier, it's just a lot of relearning and the shock of that. But it's not the end of the world or anything.
Right.
Me personally, I started to realize, at some point, as humans, we got to continue to, evolve. And it's certain things that are not going to be able to make that shift if you're talking about raising the consciousness of the masses. And if you truly think about it, it has to start with what we consume on a daily basis, and that's the entertainment. So in a way, for us to continue to evolve, we have to, some of this stuff will have to, be a part of the past. And that's what I think is also going on as well. Come on, we got a pandemic. It's people dying. You can believe it or not. I have my opinions on it. I definitely think it's real, but I think it was more so of a biochemical weapon, but I'm not going to speak on that right now. But think about it. It's people dying. Shit is shut down. Business is closing. Really, it's never really been a time like this. Because really, this is still this is coming back all the way from 2008, from the recession back then. This is basically been going on for the past 12 years. So you have to understand that, like I said earlier, a lot of stuff is not going to continue to shift while we're shifting, trying to, evolve. So a lot of stuff has to be stuck in the past. And I think it's deep too. That the CTE, like all that stuff, plays a part of it. Like the type of like what we're consuming, I think as the general public is telling for, I guess, our intelligence level. It's kind of how I'm looking at it. Because truly think about it, you think, Atlantis, they probably, I'm sure they had sport, but I think sport was different. Sport was viewed differently. It was more intellectual and less barbaric. And that's my thoughts on it. It's not like a shock to me because I think it has to happen.
I look at sports like, for one, the way that we're melanated individuals are treated in sports, specifically the black population that is in sports. I mean, we take up majority of sports. Sports wouldn't exist without us. Yet we're still treated like second-class citizens in our own country to begin with, and they want us to risk our lives, put our bodies on the line for entertainment and for money, for value, And they don't like when we talk about stuff and have disagreements about them, about ways to move with like racial injustice and stuff like that. They want us to just stay in our place and be good, good boys or whatnot. So when we do that, when we threaten to like, not play and shit, then they want to come back to the table like, nah, let's do something else, like the NBA, like let's just put a bunch of Black Lives Matter advertisements all over the court and put it on the back of your jerseys and use your platform. When I feel like at the end of the day, it's not doing anything. It's not doing anything to move the movement of racial injustice forward. It's just another ad for them to bring viewers in, which in this year they lost a lot of viewership, because I feel like a lot of people are like you and I, where they feel like sports is not relevant right now. It isn't. It's not relevant to what's going on into the grand scheme of things. We got like a huge shift coming, this election, and which I got my own issues with how it's being pushed. People can vote if they want. Me personally, I'm not somebody that's going to do that because I'm not with either side, because I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like it's predetermined who's going to win. And I don't think with me voting, say if I was to vote for somebody and to vote for like a Biden or something like that, I don't think the change that people are hoping for is going to come with that. It's got to be something different. I know we talked about off air about having like another party and coming up with that and having somebody that's truly works for us, because I feel like these politicians are full of shit and they're all about the bag. So we had to become lobbyists and get people in there that actually speak on the stuff that is important to us and not just give us these empty promises like they've been doing for how many hundreds of years. Well, like since the 20th century, all these presidents saying they're going to do this and that, people are saying, and I'm not for either one of them. Like I just said, I'm apolitical. I'm not for Trump. I'm not for a Biden, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like they're two sides of the same coin at the end of the day. Biden had a part in the 92 crime bill, if I'm not mistaken. Trump has done evil shit throughout the decades with racial discrimination of people working at his Trump towers and, him not paying people correctly and shit and avoid tax evasion and, but at the end of the day, people are saying like, yeah, he's the worst president of all time. But I'm like, did y'all forget that Reagan introduced crack to the black community in the 80s, which pretty much destroyed the black household? Do people forget that? I see that, what we're experiencing with Trump is a lot. It's a lot of negativity surrounding him. Like when he did the debate with Biden, he wouldn't denounce white supremacy. You saw he said, "Proud Boys, stand down and stand by." Like he's already said he's got plans. Like if he loses the election, he doesn't know how he's gonna take. He don't know if he'll be able to take it if he loses the election. And he's telling his Proud Boys to stand by. So I advise our people, to be prepared for that and to be and to legally have firearms on deck, because I feel like that's where it's headed. And I just don't see I really just don't. I don't see the point of voting in somebody that was working under somebody for 8 years who didn't do anything, I think, major to help his own community. And I'm talking about Obama. A lot of people may disagree with that take or whatever. And I voted for Obama back in 2012 when I was of age to vote for him. But looking back, what did he do for people? What did he do for our people truly? You know, I feel like he did more for the LGBTQ community than he did for his own community, so to speak. So that's why I'm looking at these politicians as bullshitters. It doesn't matter the race. It doesn't matter which side they're on. They're all full of shit at the end of the day. And I think we got to take a grassroots approach to fixing these problems that we have economically, you know, racially. We got to take a grassroots approach, and we got to build up from the ground up. We got to build up our own government. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I think there needs to be a major government overhaul to begin with. You look in there, you look at the government, and I'm looking at not just the government. Forbes, which is a white supremacist ran magazine, put out a list of all these billionaires. You know, certain people. There's a few black billionaires sprinkled in there, but majority of them all mainly white, old, wrinkled white motherfuckers. Like, I'm looking at the government, pretty much all white. You sprinkle in a little spice here. You got a little, you know, you got an AOC. She's pretty young and shit, but she doesn't speak for us. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at that. I'm like, who the fuck do they speak for? You telling me this old motherfucker right here is supposed to be for me? Like, he's going to help my family? I don't believe none of these motherfuckers, because I know what it is. I know it's a game at the end of the day. And a lot of people, you know, you can go vote. I believe that voting on a local level is way more important than a national level. That's what I think is important. I don't think this fucking presidential shit is important, because it's already predetermined who's going to win. The votes that you give to either president candidate, those go towards the electoral votes that go to the electoral college, who actually chooses who the president is. So if you look at that, go and do your research. The electoral college decides the election, not the people.
That goes back to the democracy aspect of what we have for government. And if we really was to educate ourselves, we would understand that democracy is why we got put into this predicament, because we were originally a republic, and based on the republic, it's the law of the land, which in this land is the Constitution. And, you know, I do believe we do need to reform the Constitution, but the problem is these elected officials that we are trusting to have our backs. Basically, we're trusting them to have our backs, but, you know, as we obviously can see, they have fucked us over this whole time, and basically sold our country out. You know, think about it. You know, think about how the U.S. dollar has been devalued 99.9% since like the 70s. I mean, that's insane. Like, and we're over here worried about some bullshit. Like, that's the shit that I don't get. Like, we're worried about some bull. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's cool to be entertained, but like, that's not the priority. Cause like in 2020, when you realize what the fuck done happened, we're fucked. Like, I mean, we are. Like, I mean, this is why. I mean, look at this too. Look at this too. I truly think what's happened the last 40 years is that we've basically been sold out. The United States has been put up for sale. One simple thing that I can kind of point to is it shook me up, and it took me down a rabbit hole. And it's like, okay, look at the technology we have. Think about it. Where does the technology come from? Mostly China. What can they do with this technology? I mean, listen to your conversations. Record video on you. Basically, you know, they can control and get all kinds of information. So think about it like this. So in every household, I can promise you have at least a TV that comes from another country. It's probably China more than likely. And if they can record the conversations and, you know, yada yada, because, you know, China, I mean, like in their own country, they have IP firewalls up the block, all shit that they don't want their citizens to see. Like, it's really like that over there. Like, they really strong. It's a strong armed communist regime over there. So I started thinking even like about the technology. I'm like, man, this whole time, like, I'm over here playing a Sony PS3, PS4 on a Sony TV with a goddamn Samsung. This ain't even our shit. So I'm looking at it like this at any time, and then that's not even talking about the debt. So anytime that these other countries want to mobilize and come take our shit, they can come do that shit. Really think about that shit. Like, we ain't in no bullshit right now. If they really want to mobilize, and I think this is what I think is going to probably happen too. The astrology's aligning with it and everything. You know, kind of leading up to December, we're about to have a snapshot of the same shit that was in the sky back in during the Revolutionary War. And you know, if you believe in history, I guess that, I mean, I don't think the history that we were taught is 100% correct, but I still think it's something to that. It basically means that we're in a time that nobody on this earth can necessarily remember of experiencing. So once again, I said, like, if these other countries who I think we have been sold out to, our dollar's been devalued 99.9%, even starting with Reagan, through Clinton, all our industry was sold out to other countries overseas. This is why our economy was shit most of our lives, because you couldn't get a job. You can go through each city and see the factories that are defunct, that are basically crumbling. Because I mean, our industry was sold out a long time ago. We get all our shit through imports. No telling what type of technology they really have in these TVs and cell phones and the game systems are important as well, because I think with the PS5 and the Scarlet Xbox and shit, I think they've taken the surveillance to another level with this shit, like, you know. But anyway, I was truly thinking, you know, if they wanted to mobilize this shit and come take our shit, Russia and China together, we better be ready for a war. Cause think about it, I mean, we owe them debt. We already know that. We don't have our own shit. We don't have our own shit. And I think this is what we need to really be paying attention to. And I agree with you. Got to arm ourselves and get back into the right mindset. Because back to what you were saying about you know, Trump and Biden and all of them being the same, two sides of the same coin. You got to understand. It's a term I want to use called the Hegelian dialectic. And basically, it's a doctrine where it states to rule over a people, rule over a society, you basically gotta give them a whole bunch of chaos and give them like basically an adversary, give them enemies, basically two sides where it looks like they're not working together, where they're enemies, but in the back end of it, they're really the 1%. They're part of the same fraternity. So this is all that's been going on, and in my opinion, you know, I still think maybe Trump. He has came out and he gave us a stimulus, yada, yada, whatever. But at the end of the day, we got to fucking understand that it's our original people on this fucking land that's being oppressed. And it don't take a goddamn rocket scientist to understand and admit that. So, like, how can these motherfuckers, it's a reason why these motherfuckers ain't wanting to come out and, you know, help the people and come out and give us the truth, because they are the ones in on controlling us. It's simple to me. It's simple. And
another thing with that, man, is like the people that they'll be like these fucking liberals and shit, these super left radical liberals that, you know, some of them Antifa, you know what I'm saying, some of them swear they down for the movement, you know, got the hashtags of Black Lives Matter, all cops are bastards and shit on social media. At the end of the day, man, these people, I feel like, are full of shit, because you truly know deep down that you don't give a fuck about what's going on with us. There's a select few that I can say, people, non-black people that I know that I really fuck with, and I know what their true intentions is because I've been around them long enough to see how they operate. But that's a select few. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of these motherfuckers swear they're so down to help melanated individuals, but when the going gets tough, where are they to be seen? You know, you think a hashtag and some fucking posts on IG is going to do anything. It doesn't do a damn thing. What you need to do is be talking to your fucking parents and getting their asses out to talk to their friends and coworkers and go to fucking the city hall and council and try to get shit passed in your areas of like opening up recreation centers and, you know, cleaning up the neighborhoods and stuff like that, low income neighborhoods, instead of just saying, hey, yeah, my you know, I'm down with the cause. You know, my parents are conservatives, but I'm Black Lives Matter. That doesn't do a goddamn thing at the end of the day. If you're not putting your money where your mouth is, like if you're not actually going to these town hall meetings and trying to get shit passed on a local level, what are you doing? You're wasting my time. Like, this is an old game that's been played so many fucking times. People swear they so with you, You know, they online and shit, they love it, you know. The clout everybody's so addicted to now, trying to tell me, you know, yeah, man, you know, you should care about this, bro. Like, you should be Black Lives Matter. Nigga, how the fuck you gonna tell me how I'm supposed to feel? I live this shit every motherfucking day. You niggas are over here trying to align with us and shit. It's the same shit y'all were doing in the 60s, 50s, 40s. It's the same bullshit, bro. Like, I'm not a fucking idiot. Like, some of these niggas are asleep. I get this shit, bro. I've been living this my entire life. You can't tell me how the fuck to feel about this shit. Black Lives Matter, fucking George Soros funded that shit. A Hungarian billionaire. He's also funded other organizations to quote unquote to promote like the ending of racial injustice and whatnot. You know, you got people, these Black Lives Matter people, the heads of them, a lot of it is ran by, and this ain't no diss to them, but a lot of it is ran by LGBTQ people. And I feel like a lot of times they look at their sexuality before their ethnicity or their race, rather. You know, they put that in the forefront as opposed to what's really important. Like, you don't see a lot of where the fuck are the strong black males, the hetero strong black males? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times they try to demonize us on social media with bullshit to try to weaken us and make us look like we aren't there and we don't care about what's going on. And it's our own people that do this shit. It's our own women that do this shit. You know what I'm saying? On a day-to-day basis, I see it, and I think it's bullshit. Because I know who's pushing that shit. It's these fucking liberals that swear they so on our side and telling them, you know, nah, you know, they not, you know, you can't always look to your own, like, to help you out. We got your back and shit. When they know they're fucking liars and they demons at the end of the day, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because I see through that shit, man. I see through it.
You know, the funny thing is, first I want to say I don't align with what calling myself black, or I mean, think about it. I'm not black. I don't look black. I'm copper colored. But the funny thing about Black Lives Matter is, you know, and I had this situation at work where, you know, somebody asked me like, Black Lives Matter, right? And I just kind of looked at her and I was like, no. I was like, no, like that's the shit I was thinking about. That's the shit I'm thinking about. Like, it's like, first off, who asked y'all, like, somebody told you to follow this Black Lives Matter shit and you haven't really consulted with a true quote unquote black person in America on how they truly feel. And most of the time we don't fuck with that Black Lives Matter shit because we know black is a classification. And in fact, in 2020, the new classification of black is basically what it means is those who are a part of an oppressed group. So who is the new definition of black? LGBTQ. So the reality is, quote unquote, young black man, I want you to listen to me. Cut on your TV, look at your advertising, like really pay attention to your YouTube ads and all that shit. And I've noticed something the last 2 weeks. They're trying to literally eliminate us. I've seen commercials where it's everybody in it but a strong black male. And if it's a black male in it, he's a cuck. But, you know, the reality is, me and my niggas is stronger than ever right now. This is what I'm not understanding. We ain't got no felonies. We all got degrees. We all making paper. And we ain't out here bullshitting, while at the same time, people from other races out here doing that fuck shit. But that's not what the attention is put on. The attention is put on how we are the savages. When the reality is, no sir, we already done shifted. We already done evolved. We building on getting our shit back on a higher level. I'm trying to understand where this shit is coming from, and it's coming from the media. The media is telling people how to feel, and the goofy thing about it is, like I said, like, motherfuckers will go and support some shit without consulting with those who are really being affected, because that's a part of the supremacist mindset. They don't give a fuck. At the end of the day, Black Lives Matter could raise $100 million like they've done plenty of times before. The Democratic Party could raise $100 million. How come it's so hard for them to just come up with a plan to put the money back in the pockets of the quote-unquote black people? And I don't only want to say black people, because what you got to understand, at some point the last few years, black, that no longer means just black people. That means, mostly now, that means LGBTQ. Like, they are trying to eliminate us. That's what I'm trying to let y'all know. And the reason why they haven't come up with a plan is because we are here for a reason. We are here as the lost tribe to be beat on and to be eliminated. This whole, what's happened in the past all the way up until this point is the literal elimination of all of our culture and they're literally on. This is how deep this shit is. Really think about it. They're trying to eliminate us not only on the spiritual plane, not only on the mental plane, but they're trying to do it on the physical plane while we're still here. Think about how wicked that is. They're trying to literally like eliminate us, erase our character while we're still here. Think about that shit. This is why we get gunned down, and we don't understand that you can't be African American because you can't be born on two different continents. And we understand that through our classifications, we get gunned down and they get off because as being a quote unquote black person, you don't exist in the corporation of the United States of America. So it's like, fuck the bullshit. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm tired of the fuck shit. I mean, I don't really see no competition because I know I'm tapping back into my roots. And at the end of the day, it's like, you know, it's wartime. And it's not wartime, not just on the physical level. It starts with the mental. It starts with yourself and building your own mentality and your own spirituality and tapping back into your power. That's what the true voodoo is, and it's deeper than that. And once you tap back into that, try to get a knowledge yourself and understand what the fuck is really going on, you're going to see how this shit is shifting. And a lot of the reason this shit is still shifting, we're just talking about the negative. We're talking about just the negative. The positive part of it is we know that this shit is not true. Everybody knows it's not true. They know niggas is tribing up. They know it. They know, and then going back, I mean, we talked about this. They know, like on every level. Even look at sports, even the entertainment. They're getting to the point where they're trying to not have a black quarterback be successful, but they can't even stop that shit. They can't even stop that, even through entertainment. They punctured my nigga lung.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor.
Think about this. And now all of a sudden Lamar Jackson can't play. Now all of a sudden, I mean, the same motherfucking script.
Russell Wilson has not gotten one MVP vote in his fucking career. And you can look at anybody who's a hardcore NFL fan, and all of them have him listed as one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if not the best.
Let's not forget about the fact that Cam Newton came in, broke the rookie record as a quarterback. Kaepernick broke the rookie record as a quarterback. Russell Wilson broke the rookie record as a quarterback. Lamar Jackson broke the Patrick Mahomes. They all did it. They all broke the goddamn rookie record back to back. And all of a sudden they can't play the next year. RG3, same fucking thing. All of a sudden they can't play. All of a sudden they can't. You get somebody like Russell Wilson come in, beat Peyton Manning. Then all of a sudden he can't beat Tom Brady you see if you seen the game, it's like, bro, this is a script. And that's actually when I stopped that Super Bowl against the Patriots, and also the one where Cam Newton was going against Peyton Manning, where it was on record that motherfucker couldn't even lift his arm up in training camp, let alone throw a ball. This is why he had the worst Super Bowl performance all the time. And they basically, through their entertainment system, through their fraternity, basically promoted they just promoting rituals on us.
Yeah.
And it's like, nigga, when are you going to stop paying attention to that shit?
Right.
When are you going to tap back in to what really matters and get rid of these motherfuckers?
Niggas about to cry. We're about to fucking cry over the NBA not coming back. I'm like, you niggas are bitches, bro. Oh my God. On God, you niggas is bitches. Like, you so worried about this entertainment shit. You're not even looking at what's most important that's right in front of you, man. And you can't see that all this popular shit, pop culture, is just a major distraction from what is most important, man. Again, with the politics, like with these quote unquote these liberals or whatever in the Democratic Party saying, you know, we're gonna look to move forward with like reparations and shit. You see, here's the thing with the reparations. They'll say that they're gonna move forward with it, but then all of a sudden, what do they come back with? Oh, they're gonna study. They're gonna study on how to go about giving out reparations. Why the fuck do you need to study about giving out something that was ours to begin with, man? This shit is ours to begin with. The indigenous people that we are. I'm not an African American, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a black. I'm indigenous to this motherfucking land, and I can prove it. I've looked up my history. I went back 300 plus fucking years, and I haven't seen a goddamn trace of me coming from a country within Africa, bro. And that's not to say that I don't have African ancestry somewhere down the line, because we all do. But I'm saying majority of my people are from this land, man. And a book that a lot of people, I think, should look into is let me find it.
I mean, think about it. You ain't never been to Africa. Like, I mean, it's that simple. Like, I don't even know anybody that ever even been over there. And like, this is how fucked up, and this is how beaten down we
They even got a book. Let me see. And this is when the Africans did come over here. Even got a book, if you can see that in the camera. It's the first the first Americans were Africans that when they came inhabited this land. But I'm saying when they got here, there was already people that was indigenous to this land, and they mixed with those people, if you get what I'm saying. And if I notice that people that quote unquote Black Americans, you look at us and compare us to somebody that is like a fresh off the boat from like Nigeria or fucking Eritrea, Uganda. We look nothing alike, bruh. We look nothing alike. Very different in cultures, obviously, but we have nothing in common other than they try to lump us all together and say we're all African American when they know it's full of bullshit. They know they're full of shit when they say that.
And we don't have an ITN number, which basically means we can live tax free in another land because this is our land. So I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you know, no disrespect, but at the end, it is what it is. You know, I ain't never been nowhere else but in North Carolina. My people have been here, and I can trace that back too. You know, right off the reservation, right in the mountains of North Carolina. So at the end of the day, it's like we tired. I know I am. I don't give a damn about nobody's feelings because obviously nobody cares about mine. On a daily basis, I get profiled in my own cities. Anywhere I go, I get profiled. I gotta damn be 10 steps ahead of a motherfucker just to survive in this shit. When at the end of the day, I'm not even worried about nobody else. I'm trying to live life the right way. Yeah, this motherfucker's out here really bringing terrorism to the streets. Yet they don't have to deal with the level of profiling that we have to deal with on my own goddamn land. Think about that shit. Think about this. I mean, this is the shit that. Think about that, man. Like, and you know, I mean, just think about that. I think about that shit a lot. I'm just thinking, who the fuck is this nigga to tell me I cannot speed on my land? If this nigga was not here, I wouldn't have to deal with this shit. So let's get him up out of here.
What were cops before they were called the police? Slave patrol, if I'm not mistaken. That's what they were, to catch slaves before when slavery was still in existence, and then it transitioned into what we call now as the police.
The police is an offshoot, is its own fraternal order within a bigger fraternal order, and the whole goal of, because you got to think this is their corporation on top of our land, and so in their corporation they needed something to control our population. That's all the police is to control our population and to cure that feeling of uneasiness that most, not just Caucasian Americans, is even immigrants, that they feel about how we are perceived on our own land. Because, you know, this is the wicked thing. They know that they have done shit that is on such a see, they know that they continue to perpetuate, and their ancestors have done shit on such a psychotic and barbaric level that they've created a patrol for the day that we tribe up and tap into that ruach to prevent us from doing that shit. Because they know it's going to happen. They know it's coming. I mean, they know it's coming. Think about your power. This whole, even their society is all about you. Cut the TV on. What they talking about? It's got something to do with niggas on all levels. It's because they use you, your energy, your attention span, paying attention to their rituals to get what they want, to continue to keep us on a low vibration. So once you disconnect from all that shit, you tap back into the truth, you don't believe these motherfuckers, and you don't be afraid of death and live in fear. That's it. But everybody gotta do it. Majority has to do it.
Yeah, death is not the end, man. It's the beginning. I believe that time is non-linear. You know, I believe that I've lived before, and I've lived several lifetimes before. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not afraid to die at any point. You know, because I know my soul is intact, and I know that I'm living in my truth, and my purpose is I'm starting to come into my purpose of what it is for me, what I need to leave here before I ascend to the next level, or to the next dimension rather. You know, and I think a lot of people, like you said, with like tapping back in, they need to look more into their spirituality and stop looking at zodiac signs as full of shit when they tell all of the truth. I mean, English language, this ain't our fucking language. My name, your name, this ain't our true names. You know, we don't even know what our true language is, bruh. Like I'm looking into Hebrew because I believe Hebrew is our true language to an extent. So I'm looking into that and learning Hebrew because I want to learn how to translate that like holy books such as the Holy Bible, the Quran. I want to read that. I want to read the Holy Bible in its original context because I know there's more power to it in Hebrew. So
I want to add to that, because I think I think it was Hebrew, but the real universal language that they literally eliminated. That this is the missing link right here, and I got this information from Dane Calloway off of YouTube. It's an old video he put out. It's sign language. Sign language. Think about why we're not taught sign language in school. Think about that. We should be taught sign language. We have a whole demographic of people who have that handicap. I guess I don't want to call it a handicap, but they're affected by that disability of being deaf, but they don't even want to teach you sign language.
Yeah.
And think about it. You can communicate without even opening your mouth with sign language, and it can be universal. And I think that's one of the missing links too. Sign language. Universal law. It's an original language of commerce. Sign language can be the same thing here and in Italy. So that's another thing we got to tap back into using sign language, and I think that's going to become more important when we are using guerrilla warfare, because the thing is the extinction mark has already been hit. So this is why you're seeing they're trying to eliminate the true alpha being on this planet. You might not agree with me, but it is the quote unquote black man. This is because it is a balance, but you got to understand the white man can't use the black woman to basically continue to get what he wants, which is to eliminate the true alpha being on this planet, which is the black quote unquote black man. This is why the attack is not. The attack is on in some sense on our women. It's still equal. We have our certain powers, but we gotta understand that. You gotta have that masculine being tapped in to be able to protect and change shit. Because the man is the only one that's gonna put fire to that ass and really get in their shit. And this is gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's just when, and how bad will it get? How bad will it get? Because the extension mark has already been hit. This is why you're seeing. This is why they're not even no longer hiding. Their playbook. You can see the rituals. You can see them. They're out in the open about this shit because they don't have that much time left. It's already hit. So my viewpoint is, how bad will it get? Because niggas clearly aren't. I'm not gonna say that we're not waking up, because it's a lot. The positive aspect is, even though we have a lot of people paying attention to the bullshit, and I'm saying really consumed by it. Because I have paid attention to sports, and I may watch college football here and there, but I know that shit's entertainment. I know it's entertainment. No emotions need to be put into it if this team doesn't win or this team loses. No emotion needs to be put into it, because I know it is what it is. It's a part of continuing to control us. So those who are consumed by, it's people that's consumed by it, but it's a lot of people that's really tapping in too.
Like, what I'm saying? Like, I see a picture behind you. They got a Michael Jackson, one of the greatest artists ever, in my opinion. But artists like him bought the masters, not just his masters. He had the fucking Beatles masters. This dude was super powerful in the industry. He had to be taken out. Prince was another artist, super powerful, was writing slave on his face, had to be taken out. Tupac, another powerful individual. 7 Day Theory, Illuminati. He was calling himself Machiavelli. He was already transitioning into his true self. They had to kill him. And that's it. You see, there's a trend with that, and you see recently with a lot of black artists being killed or dying. It's because these artists are waking up. You see like a Pop Smoke that passed away recently. R.I.P. to Pop Smoke. I don't know if you saw that video, Christopher Walken. This dude had a video called Christopher Walken where he's literally showing images of like black militant, like Black Panthers in the video. Mm-hmm. And
not no Martin Luther King shit.
Not no Martin Luther King.
I respected his message too, but we talking about the true militant shit.
Like, yeah. I feel like that's the energy we need to be on, because that all let's come together, kumbaya shit, does not work. It hasn't worked. We've tried it for so many years. Can't we all just get along? Like, you know, Rodney King said, but it hasn't worked. These people, these oppressors, continue to use us, you know, to use our energy because they see us as the power to conduct their train. You know, we are the engine that conducts this planet, and they understand that they use our pain to power the planet. And you can take that and you can look at that, what I just said, in very, like, several different meanings, but take that for what it is, you know. And they understand that, man, because I seen a video where they asked people on the streets, like, what if all of the black people, what they left Earth or something like that, what they were gone, how would you feel? Like, pretty much all of them was like, nah, man, we can't allow that. You know, I love black people, you know, yada, yada, yada.
They love what they've gotten from us.
Yeah. They love the energy that they take from us on a day-to-day basis with these psyops that they perform on us with these these killings that we see. And people got to look deeper into it because there's a whole plot behind it. You got to look into gematria and understand that there's numerology that goes into these killings, and it's rituals that are behind these. And I was going to say, man, yeah, like what you were saying about the celebrities, it's like, look, I'm a big fan of artists. Like, I'm a huge Kanye fan, and I don't care what nobody says. I'm a huge Kanye fan, and I think he's one of the most artists that really speaks the true shit that people, they take out his outlandish quotes and they run with it. But if you listen to what he's saying in his interviews, he is very intelligent and he has a plan for what he wants to do. And I think he understands it. You know, a lot of people don't, a lot of these artists you listen to are on bullshit. You know what I'm saying? They don't really push the real shit. They don't really push investing, buying land. None of them niggas be talking like Kanye does, bro.
Tell you to wear a mask.
Yeah, telling you to wear a mask, you know, and I think it's more important to social distance before even wearing a mask, personally, you know, because wearing a mask doesn't defeat the virus itself, you know what I'm saying? You're still just as likely to get it without wearing a mask, you know, depending on the environment you are in with people, how contained you are around somebody that may have COVID. But again, man, somebody like him, man, so invested. That's like my favorite. He's like my favorite artist, maybe ever. And I had to take a step back and look, like, man, I get, you know, I love his messages and stuff like that, but I got to remember not to get too involved into this and to the celebrity lifestyle and stuff, like following the celebrity news and stuff, because at the end of the day, these people, they don't know you. You know what I'm saying? And if I were to meet him, they say never meet your idols and stuff like that because they'll disappoint you. I feel like he wouldn't be who I expect him to be if I were to meet him in person. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people getting wrapped up in the deaths of these people, which I understand, yeah, it's painful when people die, but you gotta worry about yourself and what's going on in your life and stop getting wrapped up into the celebrity, the drama, the bullshit, because again, it's a distraction. The Tory and Megan situation, all it was is meant to further divide the quote unquote black and men and women. It's just dividing us more day to day with that, you know. And I see it on social media all the time where black women will call out black men for not being there, for not protecting black women. And then if we say something like, yeah, protect black women or love dark skinned women, they say, oh, you say this online, but you don't do it in real life. Like, it's always a backhand. It's always a backhand. It's never enough, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, we be aware of it, but I'm tapping back into how I'm getting my shit back. Like, I don't care what nobody say about me. I know how I truly feel about, you know, our women, and nobody else can persuade how I feel and how I think. So that shit, you know what I mean? That's some shit that, you know, whatever. That's some social media shit, basically. That's another psyop. I mean, that shit, it goes down to that level. I'm focusing on getting my shit back and, you know, how we could come together. and eliminating all the waste out of my life. That's the focus. It ain't about how. It's not about people's feelings anymore, man. It ain't. It ain't about people's feelings.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, speaking of, getting back like our stuff and moving forward, I wanted to ask you about this Ice Cube news that dropped recently. Ice Cube came out recently and he has been working with the Trump administration on a plan called the Contract with Black America to advocate for police reform, affirmative action in the education system, abolition of private prisons, decriminalization of marijuana, and elimination of mandatory minimum sentences, among other proposals. And a lot of people called him out on that because they're saying, how can you be, I get the sentiment, but how can you be working with somebody like Trump who promotes nothing but hate, which is another thing the media, they love to do, is persuade our minds to just thinking the Democrats are for us when they've been the ones fucking us over this entire century, the past century. They've been fucking us over and not, giving us what we need to get back to where we supposed to be, which is have our power, because the black dollar is powerful in itself. Over $1 trillion within the black community alone is circulated on purchases, and yeah, I just wanted to bring this up because Ice Cube, he said, I put out, this is a tweet, he said, I put out the CWBA. Both parties contacted me. Democrats said we'll address the CWBA after the election. Trump campaign made some adjustments to their plan after talking to us about the CWBA. So Trump's people actually listened to what he had to say instead of saying we'll look at it after the election. Which, if you're the Democrats, you're supposed to be so for black people or minorities as a whole, yet you want to push off something that is supposed to uplift the black community, And the plan actually is called the Platinum Plan, and he's caught a lot of hate because of that, because people are just saying, he's racist and whatnot and yada yada yada. But here's the thing, man. I look at it like this. What president hasn't been racist in history? Abraham Lincoln owned slaves. He fucked slaves too. So what do you think Joe Biden is this like miracle white savior or some shit? I think that goes back to religion. I'm not a religious person. I'm spiritual. So to all of the Christians out there that go to church and you pray to a white Jesus, you can't tell me anything about what it is that I'm talking about. You can't tell me that, oh yeah, he's a racist or whatnot when you're praying to a white God to begin with. But that's another topic for another day. I'm saying, looking at this is like, which president has not been racist? George Bush. Obviously, he's done a lot of dumb shit. A lot of people question his intellect, even being a president. His daddy got him a spot, to become a president right after him or whatnot, soon after, and him not caring about black people, the way he responded to Hurricane Katrina, the fallback on that.
Calling them refugees.
Yeah. But now, since years later, it seems like he's tried to clean up his act after becoming the president. He's tried to come out and say things to say like he's in support of certain things for the black community. And Trump, with everything he said, Trump has said stuff that I don't think people have paid attention to, about black people being the ones that built this country, And the thing is, before Trump became president, a lot of the black community, hip hop, loved Trump. They made several songs about him, referencing him. Several rappers said they met him. He wanted to work with them and stuff, behind the scenes and stuff like that. And you see, it takes one viral video online of a person saying something to get people to be like, nah, fuck him, yada yada yada. And I feel like a lot of it comes from the fact that it's a bunch of things. We get bunched into the label of minority. And it's like we have this thing where we take on everybody's problems with ours. So even if he's not speaking directly to us, we feel like, nah, we still got your back. Black and brown, alignment. The black and brown shit does not exist. That is bullshit.
Once again, we don't have an ITN number living tax free in another country. This is our country, and they stealing our shit.
Yeah. But I'm just trying to look and see if I can find more about this plan. But I just wanted to get your thoughts about that.
So I'm gonna ask a rhetorical question first, because I don't think you can give me a right response to this. But what has Trump really said when it comes to hatred towards the quote unquote black community? Like, what has he said? What has he said? Was he the one that said you're not black if you don't vote Democrat? While at the same time you have people coming at them proposing plans, and they tell you after the election, when right now is the most important time to talk about this shit. Not after no fucking election. So that's what I wanted to add. Like, what it really, besides hurt some people's feelings when we're really telling the truth, what hatred has really been promoted? Because if you really look at what he's saying, as being original to this land, I still think the Hegelian dialectic is at play, because he can still talk about it, but until shit is done, it's still talk. But then again, what other president has given you money, given you a stimulus? I mean, look at the amount of money people were able to get this year. No other president has done that. And that shit goes deeper than the stimulus. It's all kinds of small business loans that if you apply it the right way, it actually helps you. Unemployment. I mean, one thing you can say about Trump is shit has actually been done, while at the same time, his whole character has been attacked. Yeah, he's still actually done shit, put in legislation, push shit to try to change it, but yet everything's about attacking his character, not about the fact that he's fucking up or he's not doing nothing. It's about the fact that a headline can be taken and twisted just to hurt people. See, that's the liberal mindset of this country. It's all about political correctness. But see, that political correctness got us fucked. Basically. That's what I mean. It's not about your feelings. That shit is why a dollar got devalued 99.9%. That shit is why pedophilia is damn near fucking normalized in this society. That shit is why sexual deviancy is normalized, because we have to be politically correct and accept that shit. See, it's not about your feelings. It's about, look at what the fuck we in. If you look at what the fuck is really going on, it ain't never been a time like this. I truly think this shit right here is the dark. We in the lowest level of the human existence.
They love, and again with the agenda pushing with movies such as that movie Cuties, Netflix, where it was like these preteen girls overseas, I think in like England, I think, and they were twerking and stuff. They do twerking and dancing, and it's a video, well, a movie on Netflix rather, and they're like popping their behinds and stuff in little skimpy outfits on stage in front of like a white adult audience. It just looks creepy, and yet you look at the reviews, the critics love it.
Crazy.
Majority white liberal critics. Because Hollywood is Hollyweird, which is most of the time it's more of a liberal society or whatever you want to call that shit. But yeah, again with that, so that's pushing further in my mind. That's pushing pedophilia with the exposing of these children to wear this shit. There was literally
got shut down off of that. Period.
Netflix, and here's the thing with Netflix, like even that movie, the woman that made it, a black woman. Immigrant from Africa, she's an immigrant. She made that shit. They had to have a therapist on set to console the girls about the scenes that they were doing and shit in the movie, And I think it's subconsciously promoting pedophilia, like you said, and this allowing us to slowly but surely accept that shit. Also with like the LGBTQ and everything you see. Everything you see, they're pushing it. Like, it's like you can't really see a movie with just a black couple, just a regular black couple, straight black couple, or like the LGBTQ love to say a cisgender a cisgender black couple. You know, you don't get to see that a lot in movies. It's always either there's something wrong with the dude. He's a drug dealer, he's a rapist. You know, he likes to dress and drag. He's secretly gay. It's always something to it. You can't have like just a strong black man in a situation and just have him be in that role, you know. Even in see like movies like a Marvel movie like Black Panther. Like a lot of people I don't think understand that movie for what it really is. It's because, you know, T'Challa, and you know, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, but T'Challa, his character, you know, he's supposed to be the leader of Wakanda and this so technically advanced country within Africa, right? And he's supposed to be pushing forward, you know, the black or African power and moving forward and shit. But you see somebody like a Killmonger who is a quote unquote antagonist when really he's a protagonist of the movie. He literally goes to him and tells him, "You got access to all of this shit here, and we're literally being destroyed all over the fucking globe, and you don't want to do a damn thing about it.
But still off your land.
And
send it back to your country."
But yet he's the villain. Yeah, he did some despicable things in the movie and stuff. Of course, they're gonna do that to dilute his message, to make him do some outlandish shit. But what he said was true. You know, they say why we ain't got a connection to Africa, because the motherfuckers don't like us because they know we the original people over here. They know
not the same people.
We're
like,
not.
I mean, yeah, it's indigenous on all 7 continents. Just to look at us as, have you had people that's on the continent of Africa indigenous to each of those countries? We are over here in North America, but they got South America, Central. We are indigenous to Turtle Island, basically. Like we are like that, but over here. And I wanted to tell even deeper about the symbolism. Look at where the panther is native to. Think about that as well. And the jaguar, it's in the Americas. So what is a jaguar? It's basically a panther. It's all the same. So it's so much symbolism in that movie, man. Like, but see, people got the wrong message. And they got the wrong message. Because really, I mean, I'm seeing it. I mean, I work with people from different countries, Kenya, all these other countries and shit. The niggas won't shake your fucking hand because they know they talk based off their nationality. But the fucked up thing is they know we are it. This is why our culture. This is why it's not a calculated attack on their culture. This is why they know their culture, because they're not the lost tribe. Mm-hmm. We are. We are the lost tribe. This is why the motherfuckers over here. I ain't never had a motherfucking bone in my body to say let me go to Africa, because I know where the fuck I'm at. I know this is the fatherland. That's the motherland. This is the fatherland. The oldest pyramids in the world was here. The true history books say this is the first fucking land to pop up on this motherfucking flat earth, square stationary earth plane. So, I mean, we can take it deep. We can get deep, you know, today, you know. So really, you know, even with the message, man, it's like, yeah, I mean, you can see that shit play on a daily basis. These motherfuckers, I know I work with people that have literally come over here and like they laugh about it. They could come over here and get our money, go back to their country and already millionaires, dog. Go back and build castles and shit, and they not funding this shit over here.
Nope.
They look down on you because you're the lost tribe. How can you be such great people? Because here in their culture, they're taught that we are the great ones.
Yep.
But how can you be such great people and not know your motherfucking culture and call yourself black? How can you be such great people and can claim a land that you're not from? They laugh at us because they know, like, we don't know. But that's until they meet somebody who understands this shit. And it kills all that fucking noise. It kills all that noise. I'm not impressed by that shit. Them niggas know their culture because there's no calculated attack on their culture to hide their culture. Because at the end of the day, if we had our culture, which we do, we're tapping back into it, this is what none of these motherfuckers wouldn't exist. This is that deep. This is why every country in the world knows their nationality but the black, quote unquote, black Americans, because we are the lost tribe. We are the original of every goddamn thing. It's not just about that, man. We are the original. And if we're able to function in full sovereignty with you know, complete control of our land, this shit would not, like, some of these motherfuckers can't exist. They can't exist if we're tapped back into the godship of who we really are. That's what it is. It ain't about a nigga from Nigeria. I'm telling you, it's not. It's not, because it wouldn't be so easy for them to go to another country and rape that country and then still have their own sovereignty in another country. Whereas you have people that's in their own land that's not even sovereign to their own land.
Yeah, it just gets on my nerves.
Who is the attack on is what I want to ask.
I look at some of these these posts and shit of these black social media accounts, and they be promoting black businesses and shit. And a lot of times you look at this shit, these motherfuckers are from like Nigeria, Kenya, and shit. Of course, these motherfuckers got the money to make their business. It's not that easy for us over here. It's not easy for us to just get a fucking loan to start a business. Like these motherfuckers can, just because they're immigrants and they come over here, they get special treatment and shit. They make it seem like it's so easy for us to start businesses. Nah, man.
And I also want to do this. So I want to just basically just stop talking. Just. Like this is, I think a part of us continuing to go move forward is to stop talking about them that's not even about them. You know what I mean? At this point, it's about us and our shit. We already got that established. We've figured out who he is and what the fuck is really going on. Let's take the irrelevant shit out of the equation. Let's take the irrelevant shit out of the equation and focus on what we really need to focus on. Let's take that irrelevant shit out of the equation. Because once again, I say, who is the lost tribe and who ain't? And it ain't about it's deeper than race. It's deeper than race, because if you really want to understand, this shit started as an indigenous on indigenous war, a more on more war. That's how this shit started. And that shit got deep as well. This is why you see these motherfuckers come over here and they respect the white man. But if a nigga is born here, I don't have no respect for that motherfucker. I don't have no respect for him. I respect what he's done and the demonic energy that motherfucker has. But when it comes to me bowing to that no, nigga, it's war. It's war. It's war, and that's the difference. You can see that shit. If you born here, you don't do certain shit. Like it's understood. Like it's war. We've been at war for thousands of years. That's all this shit is. It's war. What the fucking media say? You supposed to die tonight. I'm supposed to die tonight. Ain't that what they say? Well, fuck it. Let's go.
Say we weren't supposed to make it past 25, but we still alive.
Let's go. Shit. If I ain't got nothing to lose, let's fucking get it. That's how I look at it. Because I mean, at this point, it's like. It's goofy to me, because we focusing, we are about to, we pointing our focus to the right shit, but we got to stop focusing on the wrong shit. You know what I mean? Let's stop harping on the wrong shit.
I wanted to circle back to the Ice Cube plan. I found an article from NewYorkMag.com, and it goes more into his platinum plan. So I'm about to read from it. So a source familiar with the back and forth between Ice Cube and the White House said Ice Cube's biggest push was to get Trump to commit to a $500 billion investment, considerably more than what was initially proposed in the Platinum Plan. Ice Cube also pushed the Trump campaign to consider labeling the Ku Klux Klan a terrorist organization and to declare Juneteenth a federal holiday. It appears Ice Cube was successful, as the Platinum Plan includes promises to increase access to capital by $500 billion, though it provides few details on how it would go about doing so. It also includes to prosecute the KKK as a terrorist organization, legally dubious given the FBI doesn't have that power, and to declare Juneteenth a national holiday, which requires an act of Congress. While Ice Cube's CWBA is a substantial document loaded with the detailed proposals on reparations and black representation in government and industry, the Platinum Plan is a leaflet packed with vague commitments and promises covering housing, criminal justice, black-owned businesses, jobs, education, religious freedom, healthcare, and more. Like so many Trump announcements, it is both wildly ambitious and remarkably sloppy. That's what this the person that wrote this,
Sounds like another attack.
The plan lumps Antifa into its commitment to prosecute the KKK as a terrorist organization and seems to refer to second chance homeowners as second chance homecomers. So yeah, that's a little bit about what Ice Cube's plan was, details, for the the plan that he sent to the White House. And like I said before, he tried to he tried to reach out to the Democrats, but they told him to wait out the election. But Trump's people were willing to listen to what he had to say and take into consideration some of the things he proposed. The full Platinum Plan is 22 pages long. And Cube is quoted saying he doesn't really see them pushing their policies in any particular direction. He's talking about Biden and Kamala Harris.
I mean, they're already on paper. They are both of them. They've already showed you they don't give a fuck about you. So like, I don't know. When that motherfucker went up there and said you ain't black if you don't vote Democrat, but yeah, he can't tell you specifically what he wants to do for you. Man, you're an idiot if you still believe anything that come out that motherfucking mouth. That right there should have turned you off. But you know, it's about the label and shit. It's about, oh, this is a Democrat. You know what I mean? It's the same. Oh, we stuck in the same. Or they stuck in the same shit basically, same cycle. But circling back. The only thing that I didn't necessarily like about that is there's still no specifics on getting my land back. That's all I want is land. I want because if I have my land, I can I can have a sovereignty, and that's what they don't. They want to do everything but that. They want to do everything but. See, we don't need no money. We don't need no better loans percent. No. It's deeper than that. We need the land and the sovereignty. That's it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
With those two things, what will happen is a lot of motherfuckers is going back home. That's why they're going to, and then I think we're going to see the extension mark has already been met. 2019 was the end of that shit. So I see what I see moving forward. It's going to seem beautiful to us, but this is only for them to continue to be. To continue to have the corporation, the United States of America, to function. We're still going to be living within their corporation.
Right.
So even though they got a $500 billion plan and they want to make the KKK a
still an employee,
you still don't have the power to run your government. You still don't have the sovereignty to literally control your government. You still don't have your land and have somewhere to go because these motherfuckers are on your land, taking your land.
Right.
They're not giving you really what you need as a nation.
Right.
They're not giving you that because they understand if they start to do that shit, it's going to be a lot of people get up out of here. I mean, this goes all the way back to what they. This is them acknowledging that they know that they have done some crazy shit to us. That's all it is. They know that they can't because it's gonna. I mean, the reality is once we get an inch, yes. If I get an inch, oh yeah, it's gonna be radical. I'm not the only one to think like that at this point. If you give a nigga an inch, yes, it's gonna get radical.
Same.
I'm closing this motherfucker down. It's gonna get radical, my nigga. Like, so they know this shit. I mean, at this point, I don't believe this, but they say they killed 99.9% of the indigenous. And even Benjamin Franklin, in one of his early excerpts, in the late 1700s, said the whole world was tawny, which basically means dark skin, except for his section of Brits. He even included the British and the French. What is a Haitian? It's basically connected to France, and the reason why is because everything was indigenous, everything was black. So if it was like that in the late 1700s, and I think it went all the way through the early 1800s into the common 1811, which I think that was the real cataclysm, the real Noah's flood. That was all that shit. But if that was the case, what happened? What happened?
That's the great question.
What happened? But we still here though. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like these motherfuckers have did all this shit, but we still here. And I think the elite of the quote unquote black community is stronger than anybody on the planet. Our elites are the elite. Our elites are literally gods. It ain't the celebrities.
They love they hate when you call yourself a god. But I see myself as a god. If we're made in God's image, then what are we? God.
They wanna tell me to worship LeBron when this nigga's he's a pussy. He's scared to even call it. This nigga grew up in Akron, Ohio, and he knows like if he really grew up in our community, he knows how it really feels to be oppressed. But yeah, he still want to be politically correct because they giving him some money and he's shooting a basketball.
La China.
So that ain't, in my opinion, that ain't no leader. He ain't no celebrity to me. He's a slave. That's all it is. He's a slave.
He's $1 billion slave to Nike.
How are they no different than peasants? We have more sovereignty and freedom than they have. Yeah, they got the money and all, but we have more sovereignty and freedom than they have. They are the slaves. They are the peasants. We're not. We have more control over our life and what little bit we have than a nigga like LeBron and a lot of these rappers. They are literally slaves to keep you on a low vibration.
Why you think every time they say something on social media, like Snoop Dogg is one of the biggest examples of one of the biggest hypocrites ever. And he's part of the reason why Pac was killed. I don't give a fuck what nobody says.
His father is was one of the biggest CIA agents known.
Snoop Dogg would say all this shit about fuck Trump. You know, have a video where he's pointing a gun at a fake Trump. You know, talking about some fuck him, and he'll go on rants. But then his bitch ass would go on Jada Pinkett's show and bow down before her as the beta male that he is, and apologize for everything he said beforehand. Because you want to know why? Because that motherfucker is controlled, and he knows that with the push of a button, his career is over.
They bought into the dollar and the material, but the shit don't matter. You still don't matter in their country. Like, they gave you that. So, you know, like, I don't even, like, I view myself above these celebrities because I understand, like, I know I'm tapped into more of the understanding of who I am than they are. They slaves. They done signed they signed their booty away is what I want to say. That's what they already done did that shit for some fucking dollars. They done sold their shit away to the white man for some dollars. And then they can't really tell you how they really feel. Think about that. They gotta tell you, they gotta be told what to say. And they supposed to have been living this shit like us. They supposed to be living this shit like us. Nah, if you really living this shit and you passionate about it, you're not worried about that bullshit. You're not worried about this bullshit, man. And like, I'm getting tired of it. We all are. That's what the times that we in. It goes back to the astrology, you know, Uranus and Taurus, shifting everything, the financial system, you know, everything, man. Everything. It's rebellion. Uranus is the planet of rebellion, you know.
I mean, it's to the point where even if we say something, you get to a certain level of popularity or becoming a public figure. Even if you say something like 21 Savage said in his album "I Am Greater Than I Was," he said he had a line saying, "We been getting that Jewish money. Everything is kosher." Just by him saying that, he came under fire because they say he perpetuated negative Jewish stereotypes. When LeBron shared that quoting that on his Instagram story,
that was still a whack ass line anyway.
21 Savage supposed to be such a real nigga, gets right on Twitter and says the Jewish people I know are very wise with their money, so that's why I said we've been getting Jewish money. I never thought anyone would take offense. I'm sorry if I offended everybody. Never my intention. I love all people. Come to find out, we find out that he's an immigrant later on. You know, they exposed that. He's an immigrant. He's not really who he says he is. You know, even though I like some of his music, it's all a game at the end of the day. Little shit like that. These quote unquote Jewish people, and they know who the real Jews is. They know who the real 12 tribes of Judah. They understand that shit. But they go so hard saying, "Oh, anti-Semitic, motherfucker, you ain't even a real Jew." Like, let's keep it 100. You not the real Jew. But yet niggas is so pussy and they don't want to say that shit in real life. Like, okay, I don't give a damn. I know what it is.
I mean, at the end of the day, I know what you're going to do. Take my money away? You can have it. What you going to do, throw me in jail? We already getting locked up. What you going to do, kill me? We been dead. We call ourselves black. That's what that shit means. I mean, what can be done? All that shit is just, I look at them type of shit as, one, I truly think that, you know, the Jewish, they do have control of the rap game, and they all use Nick Cannon. All that shit is just their way of, it's a psyop, and their way of trying to let people know that they still have power. Man, fuck them. That's all. I mean, I mean, it is what it is. You ain't got no power, no real power. It's based off some shit that don't exist. It's based off of fiat and the knowledge that you stole. But we tapping in, man. Like, it is what it is.
Their numbers are, well, I'm not just going to say the quote-unquote Jewish people numbers are dwindling, but the dominant society's numbers are dwindling. You know, there's already charts saying by around 2050, they will become the minority in the U.S. They understand that. So what are they trying to do so hard right now? Is push these immigration laws to make it harder for people to come into the U.S. But what are they also doing? They're increasing the interracial agenda that you see in all these TV shows and movies. Because you want to know why? Because they know that since their numbers are dwindling, the only way that they can survive is to mix in with the Most High, you know, to continue to have their seeds last, because they know that the original man's seeds are forever.
And I truly believe that 2050 shit. I mean, I think the 2050 shit, that shit was probably 2000, 2012. Like, I think we way past that, to be real. Like,
Yeah, I think we're way more than 13%.
Yeah, and I think when they say that they'll be I think they're already the minority, and I'm gonna tell you why. Is because one, they're pushing shit so hard, and I think the opioid crisis, these different crises that have come out, has that shit increased that it closed that gap exponentially. I think it closed the gap so fucking fast that is why the shit is like like it is now. And then the coronavirus, because really look at who the coronavirus is really affecting. Do you know anybody that's gotten the coronavirus?
I don't.
Do I know anybody that's got the coronavirus? No. I mean, but yeah, you look at the news and they say it's mostly niggas.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck is this shit? Come on, bro. Let's get out the bullshit. Let's stop the bullshit.
And like you said, you work in the hospital. You see it.
Let's stop the bullshit.
Do you see the people that come in with COVID? Are they majority black people?
Really, they were majority Hispanic. Majority Hispanic. I will say initially it was a whole bunch of, I'll say this. Initially it was a lot of Caucasian. And then that shit did drop off. It was to the point where it was like nothing but like Hispanic and like Asian. And then that kind of like, but it was for most of this shit. Then it was a lot of quote unquote African American. But you talking about in one hospital in the state capital of North Carolina, also with only 5 cases? So you talking 2, 3, 4, probably 4 at the most. It never was just, I mean, come on, man. Like, and if you truly understand that we not 13%, come on, bro. They can tell you, and they control the statistics. They can tell you every fucking thing. What I know and see is my niggas is tribing up, and we tapped in. Most of my friends from other races is out here selling drugs and doing the hard drugs. I mean, I know that. I see that. Like, we're not in that shit. Like, we into getting our shit back. We getting serious about this shit, and they know that. So that goes back to that Trump plan. I think we're gonna see. Yeah, I think it's gonna look. We gotta stay vigilant because they're gonna start basically giving our shit back, but they're not gonna give us back what we need. That's the thing. They're gonna give us money back, but it's fiat. It doesn't exist. They probably give us a whole bunch of cryptocurrency. It doesn't exist. That's not tangible shit. Where's my gold? Where's my silver?
10, 15, 20 years. What will the value be of money?
Where's my knowledge? Where's the ancient manuscripts? That's what I want. I want ancient hidden manuscripts that they done stolen and hidden in all these Masonic lodges.
Why you think they were burning down the shit in the Vatican?
You know, and I don't think they actually ever burned that shit down because I think the knowledge that they found, I think that was a lie because I think the knowledge that they found was so fucking valuable that they kept it and they used it. That's what they're using against us right now. Like that shit was so deep, they didn't burn that shit. They didn't burn that technology. What they've been doing is reverse engineering and trying to understand that shit, but they haven't been able to tap into the code of the ancient shit that they found.
I mean, that's where it comes into play, the HARP machine, where they've you get the Mandela effect, where they change shit. They actually go, yes, time travel is a real thing for people that think I'm bullshit, and you can look up the HARP program. They're doing this to this day overseas. They're looking for ways to travel within the past to change shit that's already happened. So if they get those manuscripts and they're reverse engineering it to understand it truly, they can go back. If they can figure out how to go back in time and change things to fuck up what's going on now, it's a possibility because there's several things I've seen to where I remembered it completely different growing up than what it is today.
What was it, Shazam? That was that the movie with the Shabazz? What was that?
Kazam,
bro. I swear to God, I remember that shit, dude. Growing up,
I'll tell you what. The biggest one for me was the Berenstain Bears. I always called it the Berenstain, but they said it was always the Berenstein Bears, if I'm not mistaken.
That too. Yeah, man, that shit. Oh, it was. I think the Monopoly Man looked different. Yeah, it's all kinds of shit. Like the Monopoly Man looked different. It's something with it was Jiffy peanut butter, but now it's Jif. Something crazy. I think it was something with a peanut butter brand. But I think the Mandela effect could be one or two things though. Really, it could be a good and a bad thing. And I'm gonna start with the bad. So what I think the Mandela effect could be is that it showed that the world ended at some point, and it caused some type of time rift to where some people can remember basically the previous Earth. Like remember what before that time rift happened, can remember that shit and some can't. Or it could just be it could show that we have we're transitioning to a higher dimension.
Yeah.
And I think and a lot of shit with that, and this is the wicked thing. This is fucking crazy. A lot of shit with that transition couldn't necessarily come in its full form. It had to kind of, either be left behind or transform in some type of way.
Yeah.
And that's the reality's way of showing us that we've probably started to transition. It could be that. I mean, I'm telling you, a lot of that shit, you can't convince me otherwise that I didn't see something that was what it was before.
But I don't know about you, but I think this episode, we covered a lot. I don't know if there was anything else that you had in mind that you wanted to discuss.
Nah. I think we covered a good amount of information.
All right. Well, with that being said, this is the Divine Counsel Podcast. This is episode 54. As always, if you like this podcast, if you didn't like it, let us know. We're open to constructive criticism. The podcast is available on all streaming platforms. If you're listening via the Apple Podcasts app, if you could give us a review, that would be helpful. A 5-star review helps with visibility, to garner. We can get more followers and whatnot. If you wanted to follow us, you can follow us on SoundCloud at Divine Counsel Podcast. You can also follow us on our Twitter page at Podcast Divine. We're also on Instagram at Divine Counsel Podcast. And we're just gonna continue to bring the content, and continue to level up the podcast, with this direction. Once again, special thanks to Artist Mill, for allowing us to come in here and to record today. And as always, I like to leave the listeners with a quote. And this quote was going to be about, let me see. This is going to be a quote about life. This quote is from Robert Frost, and the quote is, "In 3 words, I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on." Until next time, we're out. Peace.